Huh, what a moron. Do you remember a game called Crash Bash? Well, I sure do. I remember when the magazines back then announced that the Naughty Dog will no longer work on any Crash Bandicoot after Crash Team Racing. They decided to get rid of the franchises, move on to the next-gen consoles, PS2 at the time, to make a new platformer named Jak and Daxter. It was all cool and dandy, but what about the Crash? What did that poor fella do wrong to have such a destiny? After all, Crash games were sold like crazy in multi-million copies worldwide. Fast forward few months and those same magazines have announced a new Crash game. This time the developer will be Eurocom Entertainment Software in conjunction with Cerny Games. Who is Eurocom? No idea, but who cares, they have announced a new Crash game. My 13-year-old person's happiness was soon to be subsided once I realized that the genre of the game will be something completely different. Or will it? If you compare it, you will soon realize that the creators of the Crash franchise did kinda shamelessly follow the formula that was proven to be successful for our Super Mario. Mario is a 2D, 3D platformer with question mark boxes. Crash is a 2D, 3D platformer with question mark boxes. Mario has a Mario Kart games. Crash has kart games. Mario has Mario Party games. Well, it was time for Crash to have its own version of multiplayer minigames game. And it was called Crash Bash. I was looking at the pictures and I wasn't quite amazed to what I was seeing, but nevertheless I was gonna give Crash Bash a chance. Immediately there was a big difference in comparison to Mario Party games. There are no big maps on which you and other players traverse by throwing dices. Crash Bash have circular hubs with stages to select and that's it. Unlike Mario Party minigames that are often quite simple and short, Crash Bash has minigames that can go up to a minute and a half in duration. Of course, some of them can be solved quicker, but it's up to a minigame and the rules. Well, there are actually not that many different minigames present in the game. If I'm not mistaken, 28 in total. As the player progresses the hub worlds, some of the features in existing minigames are changed, less or drastically, just for the sake of variety. Also, new minigames like tank battles, circular racing are gradually introduced. Boss battles await at the end of each hub world after certain requirements are met. Number of trophies, gems and crystals. On a subject of gems and crystals, they provide a handicap to the player. Gems usually reduce a time limit for the player, or player must collect more points than opponents to win. Battles for the crystals are different in a certain way that handicaps player again. For example, player doesn't have a magnet attached to a cart in beach ball level while opponents have it. Players start on foot in Manic Panic level while opponents don't. Sometimes the handicap is so subtle it won't make a battle too hard, but sometimes you'll want to throw the controller into TV out of rage. Try to win a gem in a level ring ding in a 2-player adventure mode. Go ahead, I dare you. 60 balloons in a minute and a half. Without at least 3 vacuum cleaners to help you pull balloons to you without interruption, you will not make it. Good luck with that nonsensical challenge. If you rage quit a lot, better not play for the relics. They are very tough to obtain. For some reasons unknown to me, somebody at Eurocom switched the importance of relics. Gold relics are easier than sapphire ones to get, even though in every single Crash game the golden ones are tougher to get. At the first glance, I can see that the critique of the yesteryear kinda panned this game by rating it average at best. I think it was somewhat unfair because the game was very addictive and enjoyable, especially when you play it with friends. The game uses multi-tap so up to 4 players can battle against each other. You can play the entire adventure mode with a 2-player co-op mode and this is by far this game's strongest point ever. It's executed so well that you don't even want to play just as one player. Couch co-op done right, yep. Do we really need to talk about a plot? It's so dumb, just like a lame excuse to make all of the game happen. Oh, you want to know? Okay. Aku Aku and Uka Uka are arguing forever, and this calls for a settlement, once and for all. Uka Uka wants to fight, but Aku Aku not, because reasons. So what do? Involve poor characters from the past sequels, probably against their will, to do the fighting for them by teleporting them to the arena. What an asshole move. Immediately, Aku Aku has a disadvantage, since he only has Crash and Coco, so Uka Uka lets him pick two more characters, Tiny Tiger and Dingodile, to even the playfield. Oh yeah, there is a new character I've never seen in any Crash game before. Ass-faced monkey Rillaru. He looks like a main character from Monkey Hero. Or not. Maybe it's just my dumb imagination. Yeah, forget it. There is total of 8 playable characters, but actually it's more like 2 sets of 4 characters if you judge their abilities. For example, Crash and Coco use half of power while charging in panic minigames. Neo Cortex and Nitro's Brio both use magnetic guns to throw boxes the same distance in bash minigames. Each and every character is better for some and lousy for some other minigames. Cortex will shoot one shot, but it's a fast laser bolt with the longest distance travel in the Tex Fox games. Dingodile will have slower and short distance shots, but he can fire 2 of them consecutively. It's up to you to master character strengths and weaknesses. Of course, there is always one or several outside factors in each and any minigame that can help you or make it worse along the way. For example, penny games can have bolts, in which you can electrocute opponents so they are fried and stiff for a brief moment for you to knock them off the ice with ease. But beware, as soon as you collect the bolt, run, because others will try to take it from you. The other item is 500 kilos weight that if you collect, you must pass on to the opponents that are now fleeing from you before the sounding timer goes off. Why? If you do not do it, a big metal anvil will descend from the sky and strike you down, and it's a game over for you for the current round. When you play the game for a while, you'll come across so many hilarious situations like this Koala Kong jumping in the hole in Space Bash, for no apparent reason other than the AI being momentarily stupid. This just calls for watching it again. And again. And again. Okay, let's stop. Now, in some minigames, as the time goes by, there'll be a total chaos and you'll really need to sharpen your senses and skills to come out alive or the best. If you fail, and believe me, you'll hear this a lot, just try again. Sometimes a luck factor counters in and you will win it ease. Except for Ring Ding 2-player Diamond Challenge. That's just nasty and unfair. I guess it's easier to get Relic in Stormy Ascent in Crash Bandicoot 1 than win this. The balancing of the difficulty of the minigames is overall okay, even though some of them can be quite tricky. Everybody seems to have a problem with dash games, circular races. I've realized that you really need to learn how to balance throttle and turning. Movement always feels somewhat delayed. The best example would be, it's almost like playing Wipeout. When you collect Wumpa fruits for turbo boost and learn to execute nice turns while retaining high speeds, the feeling of satisfaction is legendary. Oh, and when you hit opponents out of the track, it looks like a total mayhem. Anyways, most of the time minigames are scaled properly. Except Ring Ding Diamond Challenge. Okay, I'll stop now. Anyways, boss battles are nothing really special. From Papu Pumel to Oxide Ride, it's all relatively easy ride. Crash games back then weren't really known for having tough boss battles, so this one is not the exception. Like I said earlier, if you can, play Crash Bash with a sibling, friend, family, anybody, because this is when the game comes truly alive. For this footage, I've played Adventure Mode as a 1-player, and while it's alright, it's nowhere near as fun as playing the same mode with the 2 players. Trust me on this one. Also, if one of you chooses Aku Aku's character and the other chooses Uka Uka's character, at the end of the game there is additional settlement. It's a final bash game against you and your fellow player to determine which side ultimately wins. If you happen to own multi-tap and 4 controllers, I don't even have to mention 4-player battles and tournament modes. So much fun. I would only have 2 complaints about the Crash Bash. First complaint is low number of characters and maybe lack of variety in them. Like I said earlier, you in essence have 4 characters times 2 if you judge their abilities. Second complaint would be, maybe they could squeeze a bit more minigames. If Mario Party can have way more minigames, Crash can too. Maybe there can be a way to address the problem. You are probably guessing where I'm going with this. A full-on remake. We already have Insane Trilogy and Crash Team Racing remakes, even though some will say remasters. So logically, now it's time for the fifth contender for a makeup. And that's Crash Bash. Even though it's not Naughty Dog's creation. So what? So what? So what? So what, you boring little beep? As Metallica would yell in a cover song of the same name. So, remake like this would consist of more gaming mods, more characters, more minigames. Everything built up upon old game, but better. Let's take it even further. Shamelessly steal Mario Party's idea by placing a few board games. Why not? A lot of quote-unquote inspiration was already taken from Mario games. I can already visualize such a great rendition of the classic. If only Activision or Vicarious Visions would see this video and do it. And of course, local co-op should stay intact with the addition of online capabilities. Just imagine the possibility of creating online tournaments and Crash Bash minigames. You feeling me? I know you do. Don't try to deny it. I see a lot of potential there. All in all, Crash Bash is a great party game, albeit slightly flawed. The game needs to be remembered, and by making this video, I'm honoring it as much as I can. Hey Activision, psh, come here, come on. Be a good boy. Do it. Remake it. Come on, you know you want to. Come on. Come on. What's that? You don't want to do it? Really? You don't? Okay, that does it. I'm going to the Microsoft now. Make the Activision do it. Anyways, thank you again for watching and until next time.